If we look at the comparison of the different requirements, tasks, or scope in terms of both regulations, for example, only representation, you need the appointment in both of these regulations. There is no exact approval from the authority in either EU or Ukraine. However, in Ukraine, you also, well, in the same way as in the EU, you have to submit the only representative appointment. In Ukraine, which it's coming already at the pre-registration phase. You have to submit your only representative appointment to the authority together with the pre-registration form. Pre-registration applies. It was possible in the EU REACH, of course, no longer possible, and currently ongoing in Ukraine, and which is the focus of today, and will be also possible in Ukraine to let pre-register chemicals that you import. However, the difference here is that you need full compositional information for the pre-registration in Ukraine, so it's much more complex than it was in the EU back in the days. We have the registration requirements in both of these regulations. The polymer registration not required in either. The monomers have to be. However, we know that with the REACH review, it may bring changes for the polymer registration. However, it's yet to be seen, and of course, it's likely that Ukraine will then follow the same principles as EU, but this is not at the moment, but in the future. In terms of exemption, this is a self-declaration type of requirement, so you have to evaluate yourself and then be able to present in case of inspection. In terms of registration data requirements, more volume, more data, exactly the same principle. However, we have in the Ukraine REACH that simplified registration, where it's not yet clear how the data will be handled, but however, this is yet to be clarified. Joint registration principle is applicable in both of these regulations. We have R&D exemptions, yes, exactly the same. We have the product notification in all of those, well, not really, but for the SVHC substances, you need to provide the notifications, whatever it's applicable. In terms of toxic chemicals, substances, this is unique to Ukraine, so not in the EU, and you need to have a permit for the low chemical safety, and there is no threshold here, so for any tonnage ban. For the safety data sheets and the certification, there is, of course, there is a need for safety data sheet. It's exactly the same requirement, but no SDS certification by a certified person in the same way as under KKDK. So in Turkey, it doesn't apply to Ukraine. So it's basically the same principle as in the EU REACH. And for the dossier review by a certified person, also no, so there is no such requirement in the Ukraine REACH. We know that there is such requirement in Turkey KKDK.